بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Indeed, all praise is due to Allah, and may peace and blessings be upon His Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. As I said, we have to go as fast as we can because we've got the last classes next week in order to finish a chapter of fasting. I did not go into details last time because if I do, then I need at least 10 classes for the chapter of fasting. That is why I have to just summarize as much as I can. So, Siyam al-Tatawwu', first the voluntary fast. Voluntary, we said it's very important that we know that Allah Azza wa Jalla blessed us that we have voluntary fast in order Allah Azza wa Jalla would compensate our missed obligatory. From that voluntary fast, al-Ithnain wal-Khamis, they call it Monday and Thursday, which is a day. Prophet was asked about al-Ithnain. He said this is a day upon which I was born and the day upon which I received the revelation. And also he said the day of al-Ithnain al-Khamis, the day the deeds are presented to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I love for my deeds to be presented while I'm fasting. And the Prophet ﷺ used to fast the Ithnain and 2 Khamis from the month, as we're going to see inshallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also on the day of Ithnain al Khamis, He would forgive to every Muslim except for the 2 who has quarrel. So any person who's got a quarrel with his brother regarding dunya, then Allah Azza wa Jalla would tell the angel, leave them until they reconcile. The second voluntary fast is the fasting a day and breaking the other day, as long as, of course, it does not coincide or synchronize with the day which is prohibited. So if you're fasting a day and the other day you're not fasting, and the following day you're fasting and happens to be the day of the Eid, of course you don't fast it. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, for verily, to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As radiallahu anhu, when he said, by Allah, I'm going to fast a day and I'm going to pray the whole night as long as I'm living. And then I said, Messenger of Allah, can I do that? To fast every day and to pray every night. He said, you're not able to do that. But for verily, fast and break your fast, and sleep and break your sleep. And fast from the month 3 days. For verily, Hasana will receive 10 times its like. And that would be the fast of the entire year. He said, Messenger of Allah, I'm capable of doing more than that. Another narration, Prophet said, oh, you're capable. I can do more. It's like, why should you ask for more? Then he said, fast a day and break 2 days. He said, I've got power to do more than that. He said, fast a day and break the following day. He said, I could do more than that. He said, no, this is the best fast, which is the fast of Dawood. There's no more than that. And it's the best of the fast. For very he said, Messenger of Allah, I'm capable of doing more than that. He said, there's nothing better than that. But the best of the fast of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the fast of Dawood. Yet the Prophet of Allah did not fast the fast of Dawood alayhi salam, because as I said, every person takes from the fast what he is capable. Not saying the Prophet of Allah is not capable of fasting a day breaking the following day. No, but just to show the Muslims as well that you have an option here, where not every person should be striving always to the best, because maybe your best would be in the prayer rather than to be in the fast and so on and so forth. For very the Prophet Dawood alayhi salam used to sleep half of the night, then he would stand up in the prayer, a third of it, and then he would sleep 1/6 of it, and he would fast a day, break the following day. Third voluntary fast is fasting 3 days from every month, which we have said just about it. We gave you the hadith. Also, without narrates for us that those 3 days the Prophet of Allah gave him the recommendation to fast the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th, which we call it Ayyam al-Bid, the days of the white nights, which are the nights where the moon is full. That's what they call white nights. So the Prophet ﷺ, he would fast, according also to Aisha, he would fast sometimes from the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, the end of the month. So that's as well a variety. Sometimes he would fast the Ithnain, 2 Khamis, sometimes he would fast the 3 nights, which are the 13th, 14th, and the 15th. And that's how the Prophet of Allah would make a variety of fast. And for verily, also, the other voluntary fast is fasting as much as you can from Sha'ban, unless you haven't got a habitual fast, and don't go beyond the 15th of Sha'ban. So Prophet of Allah used to fast most of Sha'ban until he links it to Ramadan, because he's told to have a habitual fast, and these are lifted up to the Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and also there's forgiveness, and also he wants to participate in the fast along with his wife to help them. Also from the fast of the voluntary is to fast 6 days of Shawwal. 6 days of Shawwal, whether you fast them together or you don't fast them together, as long as they are 6 days after the month of Ramadan, after the fast of Ramadan, then it's like you're fasting the entire year. Prophet said, he who fasts Ramadan, then followed it up with 6 days of Shawwal, it's like he fasted the entire year. Now fasting Ramadan, if you've missed some days from Ramadan, then you have to compensate for the days first, and then you fast the 6 days of Shawwal. Can I combine the fasting the 6 days of Shawwal with the compensation of the missed days of Ramadan? You could do that, but you're not going to get that reward. You could make Shawwal plus the day of Ramadan, but you're not going to get the reward that fasting the entire year. Scholars, they said, the entire year, because each hasanah received is that 10 times its like. So if you fast Ramadan, 10 times Ramadan, that's 10 months, and if you fast 6 days of Shawwal, that's 60 days, makes it 12 months, which is the entire year. Right, and from the fast, which is well recommended, is the fast which is fasting 9 days of the Hijjah. And fasting the 9 days of Hijjah, the Prophet ﷺ used to sometimes fast and sometimes he fast, because Aisha, she said, I've never seen him fasting those days. But the Prophet ﷺ, he said, there is no better days in the sight of Allah where the good deeds are to be done more than the days which are the first days of the Hijjah. Even making jihad in the sake of Allah. According to the companions, the Prophet ﷺ used to fast those days. So Hunayd ibn Khalid, which him saying, he said his wife, from the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, for verily the Prophet of Allah used to fast 9 days of the Hijjah. Now fasting all of them, it hasn't been recorded from the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember, the Prophet of Allah would fast sometimes and would leave in order that whatever the people would, go along with him, it will not become fard, because at that time it would be becomes a compulsory. If the people follow the Prophet ﷺ on a certain Sunnah act, it becomes compulsory. That's why the Prophet of Allah used to, embark upon a voluntary ibadah, and then he would leave it, because like the Taraweeh of Ramadan, that's why he left it, because it would have been implemented as to be obligatory upon us. Right, now which one is the better days? The first 10 days of Hijjah or the last 10 days of Ramadan? We have said a number of times here, the days of the first 10 days of Hijjah is better than the days of the last 10 days of Ramadan, but the nights of the last 10 nights of Ramadan are better in sight of Allah than the nights of the first 10 days of Hijjah, because of the night of Al-Qadr. And because of the days, the day of Al-Adha. So the days is better than the days, and the nights better than the nights. In each one is better and is good. Can I ask uncles for when I open the door, uncle? I'm just getting a bit warm, just a bit warm. So let's just try. Let me see. Did you make dua, uncle?
No, I didn't do that.
طيب الحمد لله. The day, uncle? Yeah, uncle. Can you just, if you come to this side, uncle, because the air is coming this way. So I think, can you just make a space for him, please, this side? Please, help him. Because I think the air will come to me here, it doesn't come to that side at all. صح? Yes. No, you're not going to feel anything, inshallah. The day of Arafah. تعال هنا. طب تعال هنا. خلينا نشوفك. نحب نشوفك نراك. The day of Arafah. The day of Arafah is also for the person who is not a pilgrim, not a Hajj. If he's a Hajji, then it is not recommended. Only the ones who are not making Hajj. Prophet of Allah, he said, fast in the day of Arafah. Will experience how many years? 2 years, the previous year, and the following year. So now we've got the day of Arafah. Also fasting most of the month of Muharram, and the emphasis on the 10th day of Muharram, Ashura. And fasting Ashura is of 3 levels. Level number 1, which is the best, fasting Ashura on the day before. Second level, fasting Ashura on the day after. Third level, fasting Ashura in itself. So first, best level, a day before. Some of the scholars, they said, like Ibn al-Qayyim, fasting a day before and a day after, plus Ashura would be better. If you think about it, that is, fasting most of the Muharram is from the Sunnah, and you're taking the 11th, not because you want to say this is the Sunnah of the Prophet of Allah, because the Prophet of Allah said I will fast a day before, then it will become better. So if you're thinking about fasting 9th, 10th and 11th, but the 11th is not because you want to be imitating the Prophet of Allah, because the Prophet of Allah did not do that, but because you're fasting what? Muharram. Fasting Muharram, the more Muharram you fast, the better it is. And the Prophet ﷺ, he used to fast Ashura, but don't make it as an obligatory. Ashura, it was an obligatory for 1 year, the year second after Hijrah. And after that, it did, and I told you about the hadith of the, they used to make the children fast along with them. Yes? And then maybe, okay, alhamdulillah. Right. Okay. Now, we're not allowed to show on Ashura any sort of hint of celebration, nor a hint of being sad because of Al-Hussein. And we talked about the Ashura in a special class called the day of Muharram and the day of 10th of Ashura, 10th of Muharram. طيب. As for the fast of the months, of the sacred months, there's no specific days in the specific months of the, which we call the Ashur al-Hurum. So Rajab, for example, there's no specific days in Rajab. All of that comes from the Bid'ah. And Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani had made a book called Tanir al-Ajab bima ishtuhira fi in ahadith fi shahr Rajab, and he had shown that these ahadith would mention the merits of fasting days in Rajab is not to be authentic. All of them are not correct. Now the person, he might get weak during the days of summer to fast, so why not invest in fasting during December, which is the winter time? The more you fast in December, then the better it is, because in December is half a day, almost by the time you wake up, almost iftar time. So Prophet ﷺ, he said, "As-sawmu fi shita al-ghanimatu al-barid." Fasting in the days of the winter is the cold booty. Cold here means a constant booty, or it means an easy booty. Very easy. So you get the reward very easy. So invest in fasting in short days. Now the person who's fasting voluntary is allowed to break his fast regardless of the reason, and he doesn't have to make up for that. And that's important to know. For the Prophet ﷺ, he entered upon Aisha radiallahu anha, the al-Mu'mineen, and he said, "Do you have something? Food?" We said, "No." He's in the house of the Prophet. I have nothing. He said, "Okay, I'm fasting." So that means he came well after the Fajr, not to say after the sunrise. It shows us as well the intention of the voluntary fast. It doesn't have to be the night before. Then he came to us another day. Messenger of Allah. It's been given to us a gift. His, which is dates mixed with ghee. Okay? Which is nice taste. So dates mixed with like butter. Alright? So he said, "Show it to me." So, well, I was fasting, but I'm going to eat now. So this is the opposite. Prophet ﷺ, he was planning to fast, but he saw that thing. He said, "Oh, I'm not fasting." It's like I can't, something cannot be wasted. It cannot be. And that's why, because the Prophet ﷺ's house, as I said, all the time is empty from the food. So it is also the Prophet is like he said, it's like a person who wants to come out from his pocket, from his money to give sadaqah, and then maybe he later on he changes his mind. He's allowed to do that. So he wanted to give sadaqah, no, I don't want to give sadaqah. So the same thing here. Person who wanted to do a voluntary fast, in the middle of the fast, he said no. Even it's a moment before that. Prophet ﷺ, according to Hani radiallahu anha, she said, "I was sitting with the Messenger of Allah, the cousin of the Prophet of Allah, and he was being given drink. So he took some, drank some, and he gave me some. So I said, Messenger of Allah, I have made a sin, so seek forgiveness for me. He said, what did you do? So I said, I was fasting and I broke my fast. So he said, because you drank. He said, did you fast for qada, compensating a day that you missed from Ramadan? She said no. He said, then what doesn't harm you then? So it doesn't harm you, and in another narration he said it doesn't harm you if it is tatawwu, if it is voluntary. And also in another narration he said, the as-sa'im al-mutatawwi' amiru nafsih, the person who is fasting involuntary, he is the prince of himself. That means he could really go ahead and fast, or go ahead and break his fast. Insha'a sam wa insha'a aftar. If he wishes he fast, continue, or he wishes he would break his fast. From the hadith of Salman al-Farisi and Abu Darda. Abu Salman al-Farisi and Abu Darda, they were made to be brothers in the phase where the Prophet migrated from Mecca to Medina. He made the brotherhood, and that was for a certain time. So Salman al-Farisi was made to be made brother to Abu Darda. Salman al-Farisi comes to the house one day and he sees the wife of his brother Abu Darda not really looking nice. She's looking like, terrible. What's wrong? She said, well, your brother has got nothing to do with the dunya. That means he's not really looking for women. I mean, why should I beautify myself to him if he's not really got nothing to do with the dunya? So when Abu Darda came, he started to make food for his brother Salman. So he said to his brother Salman, eat, for verily I'm fasting. He said, well, I'm not going to eat until you eat. So he broke his fast and he ate it. When it was during the night, Abu Darda, he wanted to go and stand up for prayer. He said to him, sleep. So he slept, because he listened to his brother. Then after that, when it was the last night, the third last night of the night, Salman woke up and he said, now you wake up and pray. And then when they prayed together, Salman, he said to him, verily your Lord has a right upon you, and yourself has a right upon you, and your wife has a right upon you. So give each one of them their rights. And then when the Prophet ﷺ was told about that, he said, Salman is correct. Salman is correct. Also the Prophet ﷺ said, if one of you was called for food, then let him respond. So if he wishes, he would eat, or he would not to eat. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri also, he said, I made a food for the Prophet ﷺ. So he came with his companions. When the food was made and was put in front of the Prophet of Allah, a man said, I'm fasting. Prophet of Allah, he said, your brother had called you and invited you, and he had done what he had done, he cooked the food. So, break the fast, eat from that, and if you wish, you could fast instead of it. If you wish. So it's not compulsory. So just because you want to give a good gesture to your brother, he had cooked and everything, you just say, I'm fasting, that's not really a good gesture. So break your fast, eat, and if you wish, you could compensate for that day. So it is not compulsory to make up for a day which is voluntary that you have fasted and you broke your fast in the middle. Coming now to the etiquettes of fast. The etiquettes of fast, number one is a suhoor. Suhoor means the pre-dawn meal. From the word sahar, and it comes to the time which is the last third of the night. وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. Prophet ﷺ, he said, تَسَحَّرُوا, take sahur, for verily there is barakah in the sahur. And also Ibn Khuzaymah in his Sahih, he makes a chapter entitled Al-Amru bis-Sahur, that is commanding to take the sahur, Amru nadbin wa irshad. It is a command for recommendation, high recommendation. For verily sahur is barakah, and that is not a command for compulsory or obligation. Where a person does not take sahur, he will be sinned. It is not. And our Shaykh al-Albani was asked regarding this issue. He said, verily, we don't say it's a command that you will be sinned if you leave it, but you will leave a barakah. But the Prophet commanded it to do. So when you fulfill a command which is highly recommended, not the command which when you leave it, you will be sinned for that. Prophet he said, the difference between us, our fast and the fast of the people of the book is the pre-dawn meal. They don't have a pre-dawn meal, we do. Abdullah ibn Umar, he said that the Prophet he said, Allah Azza wa Jal and His angels, يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى الْمُتَسَحِّرِينَ. The salah of Allah Azza wa Jal, it is not a prayer, it means He mentions them before the high inhabitants of the heavens. And for the angels, they will invoke forgiveness for those who take sahur. Also the Prophet he said, when he called Al-Irbad ibn Sariyah to the sahur, he said, هَلُمَّ إِلَى الْغِذَاءِ الْمُبَارَكِ. Come to the blessed food. It's a blessed food. Allah gives you blessing in it. So he said, it is a blessed food, do not leave it. That's where the command, do not leave it. فَلَا تَدَعُوا. And he said the barakah is in 3. One of them is in the suhoor, and one of them is in the tharid, special food with the bread with the soup, and the third one is in the jama'ah. Now what does the suhoor can be achieved? Can be achieved with even as little as a gulp of water, just a cup of water. Already the Prophet ﷺ said, tasahhur, take suhoor even as little as a gulp of water. Now the suhoor in the date, it would be, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the best. Ni'ma suhoor. Ni'ma suhoor, or suhoor al-mu'min, at-tamr. The best of the suhoor for the believer is the dates. But no problem if you want to have dates and chicken, whatever you like. But I'm just saying, the suhoor, at least to be done by a gulp of water. Now the time for the suhoor, it starts just before Fajr. Because the sahar means just before the Fajr, the dawn. And it will stop when the Fajr comes out. Prophet, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ مِنَ الْفَجْرِ. Eat and drink until you distinguish the white thread from the black thread, meaning the dawn, from the darkness, from the Fajr. And Adi ibn Hatim radiallahu anhu, when this ayah was revealed, and he did not ask about the meaning of it, he thought he didn't understand it. And that shows you, being an Arab and understanding the verse, just using the language is not going to be enough. So the linguistic people cannot depend on their, you could say, their skill in Arabic to say, I understand the verse. No, because he was more skillful than anybody, because he's the son of Hatim al-Ta'i, Adi ibn Hatim. So as soon as he heard this verse, which is saying, they eat and drink until you distinguish the white thread from the black thread. So he said, I went to a tether, camel tether, which is black, and another tether, which is white. And I put them underneath my pillow. And then I started during the night looking at them. If I can't distinguish between them, I continue eating. So that means he continued eating until almost sunrise. So when he went to the Prophet ﷺ, Prophet smiled. He said, for verily, inna wisadaka la'arid, your pillow must be really big. A huge pillow that you got. And then he said, this is the night and the day. So the night is the black thread, the day is the white thread. That's what it is. And not only that, not just Ali ibn Hatim, there's other people who done this. Some of them they want to fast. They would tie a string, which is white, onto his like toe or his feet. And so, and another one which is black. So white and black, and you can't keep eating until he could distinguish the black from the white on his feet. So that's another as well, not just for Adi ibn Hatim, even other companions. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then in that verse he said, min al-fajr. So the first time, the verse was like this, وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَكُمُ الْخَيْطُ الْأَبْيَضُ مِنَ الْخَيْطِ الْأَسْوَدِ. There is no min al-fajr. Eat and drink until you distinguish the white thread from the black thread. But there is no continuation, hasn't been revealed yet. That's when the people started putting black thread and white thread on their foot and eating until they distinguish that. When this happened, Allah revealed the continuation of that verse, min al-fajr, from the dawn. So that they knew that now the black thread and the white thread is the whiteness of the day and the darkness of the night. And for very Prophet ﷺ also, he said, Bilal, he makes adhan during the night, which is not the Fajr. So eat and drink until the adhan of Ibn Maktoum. This is the time of suhoor. Eat and drink until Ibn Maktoum, which is the other mu'adhan, makes the adhan, the blind man. So Bilal, he would make the adhan during the night. And the Prophet of Allah, he said, eat and drink until the adhan of Ibn Maktoum, for verily he would only make the adhan when the Fajr is on. And the difference between the time-wise between Adhan Bilal and Adhan Ibn Maktoum is that one of them go up and the other one go down. So it's just like climbing up and climbing down. So you could say about 15, 20 minutes and that's it. Abdullah ibn Uman al-Suhaib, he said, Qais ibn Talq, he came to me in Ramadan at the end of the night, and this is like before Fajr, and after I have finished from the suhoor, and I took my hand away from the suhoor in case that the Fajr is on. So he had asked me for some as well bread. So I said, Uncle, okay, well, I mean, it's very now. It's very late. It's going to be, it's going to be almost the Fajr time. It's going to be the Fajr. So he said, for verily, even if little thing had left from the night, I would still eat. So there's nothing like to say that to be precaution. As long as you know that the night is on, then the Fajr is not on until you are sure. So the Fajr will not come on until you are 100%. So, كُلْ مَا شَكَكْتَ حَتَّى لَا تَجُرْ. Eat as long as you are in doubt. Fajr is not on or on. Then eat. Until you are 100% the Fajr is what? On. That's how it is. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, كُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا حَتَّى يَعْتَرِضَ لَكُمُ الْأَحْمَرُ. Until you see the dome pushing up. Can I just ask, come close to the door, can you just ask me something? And I heat up by the way. I know straight away. Oh, it's the back. Just put my back. Keeps closing. Right. For verily in Jordan we do have about 17 minutes between the proper adhan and the real Fajr. So even the first adhan and the second adhan are to be what? Before the Fajr. So our Shaykh al-Albani, rahimahullah, he used to watch the Fajr and the sunset from his house, which is in the mountain of Hamlan, Jabal Hamlan, which is about east-south of Amman. So he was watching for the Fajr and watching also for the sunset. And he had seen that the sunset sets well before the time says sunset. So he used to eat before the adhan comes on, because the adhan comes on according to the timetable. And he used to eat after the adhan time, because you can't see it's really night. So for that sake, make sure if you are doing the adhan, the prayer according to the timetable, and you don't have any, you could say, assurance that the Fajr is proper or the Maghrib is proper, then you have to be doing the talab. So if you are not sure, in the Fajr, regarding the time, first you will do your prayer according to the latest of all the timetables. Your prayer of the Fajr, according to the latest of all timetables. So don't go more than an hour and a half before sunrise. Don't do that. So sunrise is known to everybody. An hour and a half before that, you are now in the clear zone. The closer to the sunrise, the more you are, inshallah, sure that your prayer is on time. And regarding the fast, if you don't do anything regarding it, if you don't know, then stop just about before that time, because to make sure that your Fajr is okay, because you don't know. If you have a timetable of different from Masajid, go to the latest one. So let's say one which says 1:30. I think it's one which is 1:20 these days. I think. Yeah, the Dabandi Masjid, 1:20. This is the Fajr. I don't know if your Dabandi Masjid here to do the same thing, but 100% 1:20 their Fajr. I'm sure about that. Huh?
Not in Luton.
Because of you guys, they do it. They copy you or something. But it's 1:20, not in Luton. No, Oxford. No, there's lots of places. In London, I know them. In London, they said to the people in Tooting, in the masjid called Masjid al-Muzammil, I'm teaching there, they said to them, this year we're going to go with you. It's not because of the time, it's because of the seeing customers that are coming from them to that masjid, because they don't want to go with this masjid. Stop 1:20 and all that. And then the Jama'ah is 1:40 for Fajr. So 1:20 and 1:40 is the Jama'ah. That's about 3 hours before sunrise. 4 hours. And that is how it is. So this year they said, I said, what they do it, they don't do it. I mean, we're going to abide with our own Fajr. Salam. I don't know, I have related for you my vision for the Fajr for this year, yes? Have I? No. About can't remember now, it could be within the last 2 weeks, when the Fajr was about 3:55. What time is the Fajr now for you, guys, at the moment? Can you tell me? 3:35. It was 3:55, okay? 3:55, 3:57. And I was watching the Fajr in an area where there is only darkness and there is no street lights and the horizon is clear, no clouds. And I thank God, alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that I've seen the Fajr clearly. Because the Fajr, the real one, because there's two Fajr, lying and the real. Lying is going from, that is, east to west, to lying. And the real one goes from south to north. And it is horizontal. The other one is vertical. The horizontal one, it pushes from the eastern side, it's from south to north, it stretches. Pushes from the eastern side, slowly goes white and then more white, and it's not followed by darkness. When I looked at it, it is no difference between 3 to 4 to 5 minutes maximum to the timetable. Timetable I'm talking about in High Wycombe, which is almost the timetable in here. It's not really a difference between that and there, because remember the altitude is different as well. Because you are higher than High Wycombe. Even High Wycombe is high, but you are higher because in the north. And the higher you are, then your Fajr will be the first, because you are high, you can see the sun more than the one who's low. So the Fajr, which is in the lower areas, it will be later on, whereas you are before. Okay, more earlier. Okay, Fajr. So your timetable now at the moment, which you say is the 3:35, that is about right. So 2 weeks, maybe 20 minutes. But if you want to make sure, then you could say, if you're not sure, 10 minutes before that, no problem, but do the prayer after that. The prayer. Make sure that you do the prayer after that. But I'm pretty sure your timetable, inshallah, upon the correct regarding the Fajr prayer. As for the sunset, you know that these guys, just before, what time is it? Just before, or the day before they announce Ramadan, they'll add 5 minutes to the sunset. They call it the precautionary time. So already your Maghrib is after the time of Maghrib. Already, before you add any 5 minutes. Already. In High Wycombe, the sunset is not being done according to the sea. It's according to our conservatory. Conservatory, they give you, for example, if I ask now Google, what is the sun, for example, I will ask you now, what time is sunset in Luton? It will tell me straight away, what time is sunset in Luton? If I ask that, what time is sunset in Luton?
The sun will set at 8:36 p.m.
What is the lady?
So, nice as well. 8:36. If you do that in the same High Wycombe, you're coinciding synchronizing between you and the timetable. There's no difference. With the help of my friend who lives in an area which is High Wycombe is a valley, Wycombe is called valley, and there's high mountains. He lives very top area, almost. And his window, mashallah, can see clear horizon for the west where the sun sets. And he's on calling me. So when the time said sunset, he's already had the sunset 7 minutes before the time. So that sets for him, which is in the high, and we are in the masjid, we are in lower ground. Between us and him, maybe another two minutes as well. So 7 minutes, he saw the sun setting while he's high. So the one who's in the valley, the set would set, where the sun would set, maybe a minute or 2 minutes. And that is why, as I said to you, in Burj al-Arab in Dubai, they'll have different times according to the level that you live in. The top level, they will not break their fast than the one which is like the bottom. The one will break fast, before. Okay, so the one at the first floor, different from the one which is above the 100th floor. It's about 2-3 minutes. And by the way, I think it's about 2 minutes. So, for that reason, we say Prophet ﷺ when he had broke his fast, he had broken it so quickly that he was in a valley and the sun just set, and the Prophet of Allah commanded Bilal, make the adhan. Bilal, he said, Inna alayka nahara. Messenger of Allah, God, still the day. He said, Inzil fajdah lana. God, make food for us. So he said, Messenger of Allah, look, I'm sayed. Just make it night, proper. He said, Inzil fajdah lana. So I made the food for him. But he said how close it was to the sunset, that if one of us is to stand up on top of his camel, his mount, to see the sun, he would have seen it. Of course he would not see it, but that's how close it was to the what? To the sunset. And that is why our Shaykh al-Albani rahmatullah, he was in the house. And I was with the Shaykh in the house when I saw him breaking the fast. When he saw the sun breaking the fast, and wallah, it was more than 7-8 minutes before the sunset. Now they add precaution time. Another 5 minutes, which is 13 minutes after the sunset. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. By this we'll finish, inshallah. We'll continue after. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil mursaleen. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Wa ala man tabi'a hudahum ila yawmiddin. From the etiquettes of the Siyam is to delay your suhoor to the end. For verily, Prophet ﷺ, he said, Inna ma'shar al-anbiya, we the prophets, we've been commanded to speed up our breaking of the fast and to delay our suhoor and to put our right onto our left in the salah. So the suhoor is to be as late as possible. Not only that, person, he may even, if he started his food and the adhan of the correct fajr is on, is not to let go of the food until he takes his satisfaction. For verily, the companions of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they are the fastest in breaking the fast and the slowest in taking their pre-dawn meal. So you are a person, if you have heard the adhan and you've got the cup or the food or whatever you are eating, and don't let go until you take your satisfaction. So it doesn't matter whether it's 1 or 2, 3 minutes still after the adhan, but because you are still related and connecting yourself to the food which is already you started before the adhan of the fajr, no problem to continue that. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِذَا سَمِعَ أَحَدُكُمُ النِّدَاءَ وَفِي يَدِهِ الْإِنَاء, if one of you to hear the adhan of the fajr and yet he's got the drink with him, which means the food as well, then let him not to leave it until he takes his satisfaction. If the person had eaten or drank thinking that the sun had set, or thinking that the fajr is not on, then he appeared to him that it wasn't the case, and there is no problem, and there is no compensation, and there is no expiation. So if a person, he had eaten during the night, thinking it is not Fajr, but it was Fajr, is no problem upon him. Same thing with as well with taking it in the sunset. If you thought that sunset came on, the sun had set, but it is not, and you have eaten, no problem. So this is as well just to add to the thing that if you hasten your breaking of the fast and you found out that it's actually before sunset, don't worry about it. And if you have delayed your suhoor thinking that the fajr is not on, but it was on, don't worry about it. For verily, لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ بِهِ وَلَكِنْ مَا تَعَمَّدَتْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. As we're going to discuss inshallah in the fast breakers, when we come to them, that one of the conditions for the breaker to be a breaker is that you are doing that deliberately, with consent. But if you did not do it, it's a mistake, and there's no problem, inshallah. At the time of Umar al-Khattab, for verily, the people had broken their fast, thinking the sun had set, and then the sun had appeared. So the people, they were really sort of in chaos, and they don't know what to do. Umar al-Khattab said, Wallahi, we should not be scared. We did not embark upon a sin. we have done what the Prophet of Allah told us to do, which is to hasten the breaking of the fast. So if the person had done that, thinking the sun had set, then no problem. Now these days, of course, you're linked to the time, but sometimes as well, your watches are not correct. Or maybe you are under the impression that you are in the same area that you live in, so you have broken the fast according to that time, and later on that you found out actually the time that you are in that place is different from the time that you have taken your Maghrib. And remember, if you're in a place where the sunset is moving about, for example, you're in a car, you have to stop. So if you are in a car and seeing the sunset appearing, it happened to me one day when I was driving, somebody was driving me, and I could see the sun going, because it was at the time where the sunset would set. And we don't have a particular sunset at that particular place where we are in. But we could see that if we are in a place which is low, then the sun would set. If we go really up with the car, then the sun would appear again. So if you want to break your fast, you have to be stopping and then you set. Otherwise, you might jeopardize your fast. Same thing when you are in that building that we talked about. You should not be in the lift when the sun sets, going up and down, because as I said, you might break your fast if you were down and then you go in the lift and you find the sun as well is on. Right. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, according to Asma radiallahu anha, the daughter of Abu Bakr, the people had also broken the fast, and then the sun had appeared. The Prophet of Allah did not command them to redo that day. So we are asked to delay our suhoor and hasten our what? Fast breaking. Okay. Now coming to the sunset. Sunset is the disk of the sun. There is the upper and the lower of the disk. When the upper disk of the disk of the sun disappears, that's when the sun is set. And there is marks for that. First mark is that the disappearance of the sun, of course. Second mark is the disappearance of the day where the sun sets, which is in the west. Third mark, the appearance of the darkness, which is the night, on the opposite side, which is the east. So again, the sun sets in the west. So for the sun sign to be set, number one is the disk disappears. Number two is that the day on that western side would disappear. Third sign, the night on the opposite side would appear. This is to show that if the sun had actually hidden itself behind a building, you will never see a night on the other side. Still day. Okay, you understand me? So the sun had, if the sun had hidden itself behind a building, so if you look into the eastern side, you will never find dark. You will never find darkness. Do you understand? The east. The sun sets in the west. So in the east, in the opposite side, you will never find darkness. You'll find daylight, because the sun has not set. Because if it's set, it goes behind the horizon, so you'll find the darkness on the other side. Right. And that is when the person who is fasting should really break his fast. Right. Now, upon what he breaks his fast? Well, the best thing is rutab, fresh dates. If he hasn't got dry dates, if he hasn't got water, that's the best to break your fast with. It doesn't say that it's the only thing you break your fast with. As for the supplications, all of this from the etiquettes of the fast. As for the dua, it's really getting hot. I don't know why. Like, supplication, when you are breaking the fast, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. Thirst is gone, veins are wet, and the reward is affirmed by the will of Allah. From the etiquettes as well in the fast is that to be generous and to read the Quran. Already the Prophet ﷺ used to be very generous in the month of Ramadan, and also he used to have the Quran be revised to him every year. And the year that he died in, the Quran was revised twice. That's why he knew that his death is approaching. So we should really abide by the sunnah of the Prophet of Allah and follow his example by being generous in the month of Ramadan and also reading the Quran. In the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the ijtihad, person strive against himself and his desires to make sure that he will not miss these days. So he will wake up for the qiyam, makes the taraweeh with the imam, and also would recite the Quran. So he would do more than he would do normally in the previous 20 days of Ramadan. Person might wake up as well his family, children, his wife, to make sure that they would make qiyam as well with him. The invalidators of the fast is of two types. One is spiritual and one which is the materialistic. The spiritual one is the person should be abiding himself by saying the truth, not to lie, not to use reviling words, obscenity. For verily, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says in the ayah which regarding the fast, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, so you could gain taqwa. Also He said who does not abandon the saying of the falsehood and embarkation upon it, and Allah does not need your fast, does not need you to stop and abstain from food and drinks. If you don't abstain from haram, why should you abstain from food and drink? And the person who might be fasting gains nothing out of his fast except for hunger and thirst. And the Prophet ﷺ, in the Hadith al-Qudsi, he says, كُلُّ عَمَلِ ابْنِ آدَمَ لَهُ, all the acts of the son of Adam is to be for him. إِلَّا الصِّيَامِ, except for fasting. As it is for me, and I recompense for it. As it is for me, it is for the Almighty Subhanahu. Well, it means here, for me, that means I will give the rewards for it in a way which is not the way I give to other deeds. Like for example, 10 multiples up to 700. I will give a special for Ramadan. Number two, it means that your siyam will not be touched if in case somebody you've done something wrong to him, and on the day of resurrection he wants to take from your hasanat, he will not be able to take from the siyam, because the siyam is kept for Allah. So the siyam will have, and I've gained this benefit from some of the scholars, which they have said it in the past, and also Shaykh Ibn Uthaymeen had echoed that, and that is a very good benefit. That is the siyam, because it's for Allah, it will not be exposed for give and take when you have something wrong you've done to somebody else, where he could take from your hasanat, he cannot take from the fast. Right. So the person also needs to know, siyam is not from abstaining from food and drink, but it's actually abstaining from all obscenity. If somebody is to fight you, then let you say, inni sa'im. That means I've got the opportunity to retaliate, but I don't want to retaliate. Because I don't want to, because of my fast. Make sure that the person in front of you understands what you're saying. Because these days, it's not just the non-Muslims, some of the Muslims, they don't understand what you're doing. They say, I'm inni sa'im. And you can say it in the language of yours. You don't have to say to a person who doesn't understand inni sa'im, you say to him, I'm fasting. Okay? So if it's Chinese, speak to him Chinese. So it's nothing to do with inni sa'im as an Arabic word, you have to say it like Allahu Akbar in the salah. Inni sa'im, I'm fasting. What is permissible for the fasting person to do? Number one, washing himself from janaba, washing himself from sexual intercourse, washing himself for the Jumu'ah, or even washing himself to get cooler because it's hot. Whether it's washing himself or putting water on his head, and all of that is permissible. So the Prophet ﷺ, he used to put water on his head while he was fasting. And the hadith says, according to Abu Bakr, he said that is from the thirst and the heat. So you put your water on your head because you are what? Thirsty. You're not drinking it, but you are cooling yourself. As for the person being on janaba, when the fajr starts, there's no problem. So let's say you're in janaba, and you did not have the ghusl until after fajr, it does not invalidate your fast. So you could have your ghusl after that and no problem. And we said as well regarding the menstruating women, we said if her blood stopped before fajr and she did not have the ghusl until after Fajr, is no problem. As long as the blood stops before Fajr, then she could resume fasting that day. So she could have the ghusl later on. And that ghusl, as I said, is a ghusl, depends upon it, lots of things. Because she cannot do the prayer without that ghusl. She cannot intercourse with her husband without that ghusl. And if she's divorced, a reversible or revocable divorce, and that is the first or the second, in her iddah, which is 3 menses, then her iddah will not finish until she has that ghusl. So the last menses, when it stops, she's still his wife. But when she has the ghusl, that's it, she becomes a stranger. So that ghusl is very important. So we now understand that the person can be on janaba on the following morning and no problem. Third issue, which is permissible, which is that we said you have a ghusl, you could be on janaba after Fajr, no problem. Also to rinse your mouth and to put water into your nostrils, but without exaggeration. Exaggeration means to move it about vigorously or to tilt your head upwards, because that is going to be jeopardization, unless you needed to do so. Like for example, you want to go to the dentist, and it is emergency, and you need to go to the dentist, and you can't have an appointment after 9 o'clock, because this is what the Maghrib is. You can't have an appointment after 9 o'clock. Then, if it is the case, necessity, and you can't have an appointment, you can't postpone it before or after, then you may go to the dentist, and you could be fasting. But if you broke your fast, no problem, because you consider it as an illness as well, which is allowed. So if you tilted your head, make sure that the water does not go in. But if it went in without you intending it, is no problem, inshallah. Okay? Because you did it for necessity. But if you tilted your head without necessity, and you started gargling water, the water went inside, then you broke your fast. Because you're not supposed to exaggerate while you are fasting. Also, from the thing which is not allowed for you to do is that to put kuhl. Kuhl to, the kuhl, what do you call it, eyeliner? Kuhl is kuhl, because eyeliners, I don't know what is eyeliner. Kuhl. Kuhl. Okay. The eye rod. Okay. So this is allowed. Also to put eye drops, okay, no problem. Any drops goes into ear drops. If you felt it in your throat, spit it out. Nose drops, as long as you don't swallow them, because the nose and the mouth are the way through to the stomach, but the ears are not, and the eyes are not. Nobody would eat from his ears nor from his eyes. But if you're one of these people who could really put some kuhl or some eye drops and feel it in your throat, spit it out. It does happen then, doesn't it? Eye drops go into the throat. Some of them, but not all of them. I put lots of eye drops, it doesn't go in my throat. Did it go in your throat? Anybody go in the throat when he put in his eye? Who had put in his eyes and did not go into the throat? Did not go to the throat. So your doctor is special. You've got a special canal there. But I know a person who does the opposite. He drank milk and he made the milk come out of his eyes. That's reality, it's not magic. He drank milk and he pushed it somehow the opposite way. Huh? Yeah, yeah, but there's a channel to control that channel is not really easy. No, but our channels are blocked maybe, your channels open.
Maybe different drop. Tasteless, my one was a different one.
Okay. But I know that the opposite now. You drink milk, you come out from eyes. Can you do that, doctor? No.
I've not tried.
But this has happened in reality. So you can put it on YouTube. Yeah, you see that. Drink milk coming out of the eyes. Yeah, something on YouTube. And it's not magic, it's real. But anyway, if you felt it, spit it. But it's no problem to eye drops. Don't worry about it. So if you felt it, spit it out. And you're able to spit it out, doctor, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't go straight. Okay, alhamdulillah. So you have a barrier for that. Also from the things which are permissible, bakhur. Bakhur, which is the incense, perfume, smelling flower. But if you have this bakhur, which is that you are deliberately putting yourself onto it and taking it inside, that is exactly like smoke cigarettes. You know the cigarette? Some of the people smoke cigarettes, it doesn't break the fast, it's only smoke. But in Arabic we say, sharib al-dukhan. He drank the cigarette. Subhanallah. Drinking smoke, so that means it's drink. Sharib al-dukhan. We don't say, he smelled the smoke. He smelled the smoke. He drank. So he drank, drinking, so he's drinking. So if somebody is smoking a cigarette and is next to you, breaking his fast, it does not break the fast. Same thing with the incense. If it's coming to the house, lots of bukhur, you smelt it, it doesn't. But if you deliberately came to start inhale it, so this person, he likes cigarettes. Because of Ramadan, he stopped it. So somebody had lighted up a cigarette, another person said, please brother, come next to me. Give me some of that. He would break his fast. Because he started to inhale it what? Deliberately. Same thing with the incense that you put yourself into mabkhara, sin burner, incense burners, sin burner, incense burners, and you start inhaling the smoke, that would as well break your fast. What is allowed as well? Kissing and mubashara. Mubashara, putting the skin to the skin, as long as you are capable of controlling yourself. What is controlling yourself? Controlling not to make intercourse, not controlling not to have a lust. And the kissing here is not the kissing of the children nor the kissing of the mother. We're talking about the kissing of wife. Regardless the kiss, how it is, the kiss of the wife is always with a shahwa. But there's extreme shahwa with it, 50% shahwa. As long as you don't really intercourse, no problem that kissing, and no problem even the putting the skin to the skin. Do you understand me? That even if she's naked and you are naked, it doesn't break the fast. What breaks the fast is the intercourse. Ejaculation, we're going to come to it. Ejaculation, if you ejaculated, we're going to come to it and discuss it inshallah, but not this class. Last class, inshallah. Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he used to kiss while he was fasting. And Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha, she said, you have a uswa hasan. Good example of the Prophet. He used to kiss while he was fasting. So that means do the same thing and kiss like him as well. So the kiss and all of that, sort of, except for the intercourse, is allowed. And Aisha radiallahu anha, she was asked by Hakim ibn Iqan, what is prohibited upon me from my wife if I'm fasting? She said, her private part. So anything apart from that means to intercourse. He said, farjuha, she said, her private part. So everything apart from that is halal. And as I said, when you have skin to skin or kiss, there's no way that you could control that lust. The lust is there. What you should control is that intercourse. If you're going to drive you to the intercourse, you can't control yourself, and don't do it. For verily, Allah ibn Abbas had been approached by a man. He said, I have married to my cousin, and he said, she's beautiful. He's saying to Allah, she's beautiful. I'm married to my cousin, she's beautiful. And got married to her in Ramadan. I don't advise anybody to get married to a beautiful, wife in Ramadan. Very hard to control yourself. And he's asking Abdullah ibn Abbas, is it permissible for me to kiss? It looks like he had heard people say don't kiss, you're not supposed to kiss. Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, are you controlling yourself? Controlling yourself for what? The intercourse. If you control yourself for the lust, you will not ask Ibn Abbas about the kiss. What for the kisses for no lust? What should I kiss them? Khalas, forget about it. He said, would you control yourself? He said, yes, then kiss. I sacrificed my father and my mother for you, Ibn Abbas. Now he started to like, it's like trying to say, I beg you, please, is it permissible for me to make mubashara? Mubashara, that I touch her skin with my skin, body to body, without any further explanation. You understand, as an adult. Would you control yourself? I said, yes, mubashara, make mubashara. You want to go further. Is it permissible for me to put my hand onto her private part? And that's skin to skin. Can you control yourself? Yes. Well, then do it. In Arabic even is a way it's better than the English. He said, هل لي أن أضرب بيدي على فرجها بأبي أنت وأمي ابن عباس. He said, هل تملك نفسك? نعم. قال فاضرب. So that's how the companions were very open regarding this issue. But if a person is not able to control himself, then he should not approach. Two people approached the Prophet. One was an old man. Messenger of Allah, I want to kiss my wife. Can I when I'm fasting? The Prophet said, go ahead. Another person who was young came to the Prophet. He said, Messenger of Allah, can I kiss my wife? He said, no. It's the same question. Two different people. So one of the companions asked the Messenger, you allowed him, did not allow me, that person, you allowed him, allow him. He said, as for that, he's an old man, he could control himself. As for that young man, he will not control himself. Now I'm asking, that no, is that a command or an advice? Can I kiss my wife? He said, no. Is that an advice or a command? Because that's what you should understand the hadith. Is it a command or an advice? An advice, of course. Was the Prophet kiss his wife? How can he say to him no when he kisses himself? And his wife, how old is she? She's 18 when he died, the Prophet. And Aisha, she's very young. Very young and very beautiful. Yet he used to kiss her. So it's an advice. And that is why the scholars, they are scholars, because they don't look at one hadith, they look at other hadith. And in this sense, it comes to my mind, for example, when you talked about fasting while you are on a journey. For verily the Prophet ﷺ, when he was fasting onto the journey, when he was heading towards Mecca in the year 8 after Hijrah, to conquer Mecca, to regain Mecca, I should say, repossess it. So it's like going, and war is at stake. So the Prophet ﷺ, he was mounting, and the companions were, some of them are walking on foot. Prophet was fasting, it was Ramadan. And the companions along with him are fasting. Whatever he does, they do. So the Prophet ﷺ, he camped in a place and then he said, if you wish, you could break your fast. So Abu Sa'id al-Khudri said, we took it as a rukhsa, concession. So we did not really break our fast. Then we camped again. He said, you're about to meet your enemies, which is Quraysh. It would be better for you to fast, like a command here. I command you not to fast, to break your fast. So it was azima. Azima means like almost like not compulsion, but like a strong promption. He's prompting them with strong tone. Some of them did not, they fast, some of them did. Then when he went to a place called Qura al-Ghamim. Qura al-Ghamim, not far away from Mecca. And it was Asr time. About 2 hours, maybe sunset. So the Prophet ﷺ was approached by some people. Messenger of Allah, there are some people are falling about, tired. And they want to break the fast, but you got doing what you're doing. So the Prophet ﷺ called for a cup and he drank it on top of his mountain. So he put that cup against his mouth. The companions started to look. When they looked, he started drinking. And that was after Asr. Only a few time, just a few hours left. When he drank, they drank. Some of them did not. Still, when he was told, he said, they are the sinners. They are the sinners. They are the sinners. They are the ones who sin. Why the sinners? Because they did not accept the concession. Now, look at the chapter title in Sahih ibn Hibban regarding this hadith. Chapter title regarding this hadith is as follows. Ibn Hibban, he says, Bab, Dhikr, Khabar. That is the chapter regarding the information. قد يوهم غير المتبحر في صناعة الحديث, but it might give a presumption to the person who is not expert in the hadith, أن الصائم في السفر يكون عاصيا, that the person who is fasting while he's on a journey, he is a sinner. Look at that. So Ibn Hibban put a chapter title on that hadith. Because you think now what? He's a sinner. You think he's a sinner. Why is he fasting? All the sinners that are fasting are sinners. So he says, this hadith, he put into the chapter, that this information might give a presumption, a hint, okay, an idea to the person غير المتبحر, the one who's not knowledgeable enough in the hadith manufacturing, that the fasting person, while he's on journey, he will be a sinner. Because the Prophet of Allah was fasting. But why they were sinners? Because they refused the command of the Prophet of Allah. He told them to break the fast. Why they're sinners? Because they saw it's not a concession. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ, he said, you remember when he said, لَيْسَ مِنَ الْبِرِّ الصِّيَامُ السَّفَرِ, it is not from the righteousness to fast while you are on a journey. That is why when the Prophet ﷺ was on a journey, along with him Abu Bakr and Umar, when he passed by a place called Marad Bakhan, and there was some food came to the Prophet of Allah, he called Umar and Abu Bakr I should say first, and Umar, to come and eat in that place, Marad Bakhan. So he said, we are fasting. So he said, make for your two companions, do this for two companions, come on, come here and eat. What he meant by this, that when you are fasting in a journey and you've got a group with you who are not fasting, you become a burden. So every time they cook or leave this bit of food for the fasting person, is about to break his fast. So when they're camping as well, let them not camp because they are tired. Don't ask them for any help. Do you understand? So you always keep them aside. That is why on that journey, Abu Shaykh told us about, that when they were in the heat of the desert, it's not like here. In the hadith it says, كَانُوا يَتَسَاقَطُونَ, they were falling down. It was the heat. But the Prophet ﷺ asked for the saddle to be put into the camel. Only the ones who are what? Not fasting, they went to saddle the camels. And the ones who are fasting, they couldn't do anything. So the Prophet ﷺ said, ذهب المفطرون بالأجر اليوم. Today, the ones who are not fasting, they've taken the reward. Today, the ones who are what? Fasting, not the one who are fasting. They've taken the reward of what? Looking after the camp, putting the saddle. What is a fasting person? They only benefit themselves. They didn't benefit the community, they didn't benefit their group. So that is what we say, if you are in a journey, and your fasting is difficult for you, you're going to give a hint that you need help. And that is why Abu Bakr and Umar, they told him, okay, so you want the people now, oh, miskin, 2 guys are fasting, let's make for them and let's do for them. Come here, don't be like that. And eat. It's not good for the person to start to depend upon other people. Prophet ﷺ, whenever his staff or his stick falls on the floor, he will not tell the companion to go and pick it up. He will dismount and pick it up what? Himself. He will not go pick it up. No. He'll pick it up himself. So the same thing when you're on a journey, you should not be depending upon other people to help you. You should be the one who's helping. ذهب المفترون اليوم بالأجر. The ones who did not fast, they've taken the reward. Fine. What time is the adhan? Yeah? 45. Okay, we need to leave some time for the question and answers, okay? So let me just finish quickly what we're going to be finishing regarding what is permissible for the person who is fasting. I was going to talk a lot about the kissing, but I'm not going to be kissing a lot. So let's move from the kissing to another thing which is permissible, that is injection. All types of injection is permissible, whether it is for hay fever, or whether it is for fever, or whether it's for headache. All injection except for the injection which is meant to substitute the food, which we call it the glucose. Meant for the nourishment of the food, to substitute the food. A person could live in glucose years, no food, just being put the food into the vein. That type of food, some of the scholars, and rightly so, they put it amongst the fast breakers, because some of them they don't. Fast breakers is a nourishment. Not nourishment means you have food. As for nourishment, even you have a ghusl, you have a nourishment. When you have a wash during the month of Ramadan, you're fasting, you have a nourishment, isn't it? But the nourishment we're talking about here, the food, the substitute of the food, that would break the fast. The other one which is permissible as well, hijama, cupping. Cupping, which is cut, you do cupping. Hijama, some of the scholars consider to break the fast, and we don't consider it to break the fast because the hadith which says after al-hajim wal-mahjum, the one who makes the cupping, the one who has the cupping done upon him is to have broken the fast. We say this hadith is to be abrogated. Who abrogated that hadith? Well, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiallahu anhu, he said the Prophet ﷺ gave us a concession to make hijama when we are fasting. So the hadith after al-hajim wal-mahjum is correct, but it's been abrogated. And that is why Abdullah ibn Abbas and also Ikrimah, they said the fasting, or the breaking of the fast is what is come in, not coming out. That means it goes into your body, not comes out. So if something comes out, it does not break your fast. So if the blood came out, it does not. Also the Prophet ﷺ, according to Ibn Abbas, he had made hijama while he was fasting. Okay? So there's another one. But the knockout hadith to obligation is the hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu. That's the knockout. He says, for verily, he said, did you used to dislike to make hijama for the fasting? He said, no. He said, well, for verily, he was asked, did you used to make it? He said, no, but because of the weakness. It's not recommended to make hijama because it makes you what? Weak, because you need juice after that. But it does not break your fast. Prophet Allah, he made hijama while he's fasting, according to Abbas, and also according to Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, that he had made a concession. He had arkhas, that means made a concession. By this, alhamdulillah, we know it is not a fast breaker. Also from the things which are permissible is to swallow something you can't avoid, like your salam. Like when you making siwak with a dry siwak, not with water siwak. Dry siwak makes saliva, doesn't it? You could suck that saliva, no problem. When you smell the dust and comes to your mouth and you swallow that, no problem. All of this, it will not break your fast. Now if you take even your phlegm, unless you took the phlegm out and then started sucking it, then it will break your fast, because it comes from the outside. Same thing with the blood. If the blood came inside from your mouth, you swallowed it, it does not break your fast. But if you took it out and you brought it in, it will break your fast. So that as well is allowed. Also it is allowed to mix siwak, doesn't matter which part of the day. Also to put perfume, and to put ointment, all of that is allowed. And tasting the food. Tasting the food only for the one who cooks the food. To taste it and then spit it, because the taste doesn't take it particularly. But because if you are not cooking the food, you're not supposed to do something that might break your fast. Just like when we said don't exaggerate when you are gargling, when you are rinsing your mouth. So we say to the same thing here, don't taste the food if you don't need to taste the food. So only for the person who cooks the food, he tastes it whenever he needs to taste it, but not every second. To taste it, that generally salty, not salty, it's not sweet, and so on and so forth, but he spits it out. By this, alhamdulillah, we've come to the mufattirat, which will be discussed in the last class, inshallah, next week. I hope that I will do the mufattirat, and I will do as well Qada Ramadan, Laylatul Qadr, and I'tikaf. I'll lump all of that in one go, inshallah. But what I've done, as I said, I have used a Ferrari in this class right now. Really fast. Now, do you have any questions? تفضل. اقترب يا شيخ، اقترب يا أخي. أنت اقترب، لا تبتعد. اقترب، لا تضرب فرجة الشيطان. نعم.
لا يمسك بشراب وينتظر الأذان والأذان يؤذن وهو يشرب، هل أصاب السنة أم غلو فيه؟
ما فهمت السؤال يعني كيف؟ يعني هو
ماسك ماء أو شراب أي شراب والسنة الأذان يشرب، أصاب السنة أو
the question is that this person is holding the drink and waiting for the adhan of the fajr to come on, and then he drinks. No, akhi, this will break his fast. He will break his fast. It's not asab al-sunnah, he will break his fast. But this person, he had started to drink. Let's say he woke up just about 2 minutes before adhan fajr. He got some sandwich food and drink, and he started eating. And then gave him no problem. But this person is waiting to challenge. Okay, let adhan come, and then I'll drink. You'll break your fast. Because you're not really doing it for the sake of you want to eat. You're doing it just for the sake of break your fast. No. Do they do that?
Just before the
Before they start, but don't. You see, look. If I had started before the food, before the adhan, and I have taken my food, then khalas. But if you start now, adhan is 2 minutes, then we go and have another water and hold it. Yeah, but to make the sunnah to stop. The sunnah is not a sunnah, is to exceed the time, ikhwan. Exceeding the time because you need it. It's not to exceed the time to make the sunnah, ikhwani. It's not a sunnah to hold the water. Okay, so for example, you started before 5 minutes before. And you finish in 4 minutes. You said, no, let me continue so I could really hold the food until the adhan comes in. That's not a sunnah. This is only when you need. Do you understand me? It's the new. So the word here, فَلَا يَدَعْهُ حَتَّى يُكْمِلَ حَاجَتَهُ مِنْ is misunderstood again. We should add it as well to what Ibn Habban has said. That it thus should not leave the drink until he takes his satisfaction. So this should not leave it because you need it. It's not, oh, it's a sunnah not to leave it. That's not right. It's not to leave it because you need it. You want to finish your food. You want to finish your water. So, if you started 15 minutes, you should be stopping before adhan, fajr. You should be stopping. Because it's enough for you. When you walk to 2, 3, 4 minutes and you start, alhamdulillah, continue until you finish. 1 minute, 2 minutes, doesn't matter. Till you finish. Now. And by the way, if the adhan of the fajr is on the fajr, I don't know if fajr is on the fajr, by the way. I have no idea. I know it's definitely safe, inshallah, but I don't think it is precisely on the fajr. Now, so please, from before Ramadan, go ahead. You've got plenty of areas in Luton, countryside. Go to the rural areas. See for yourself. Huh? Yeah, downstairs there are plenty of parks and where the zoo is, what's it called? Websting. Yeah. There are areas. MashaAllah, got horizon, the best area I've seen, which is, where the plains land, there's a plain area there.
Yeah.
That's the best area. You could go up and see for yourself clear skies and make your homework, akhi. Record it with your mobile. Help us as well to see if your fajr here is good. Why not? And the fajr now is within your capability, especially if you are doing nothing the following day. Fajr, you just wait from it. You start from 3 o'clock, and by quarter to 4 you finish. 45 minutes. Picnic. Now, fun. But before you start, please know where you're east. That's where the sun comes in. So you've got, mashallah, mobile, yes? Look at the east and start watching. As long as there's no street lights, because it will confuse you. Look at the horizon. You'll see the Fajr clearly coming. You'll be happy when you see it. Sorry, I thought that for the third time.
Mondays and Thursdays, is it the sunnah to continuously fast?
Is it from the sunnah to continuously fasting, the Ithnain al Khamis, or sometimes it is the sunnah to fast all Ithnain al Khamis, except if it happens to be a prohibited day, like they will eat, day of the Tashriq. It is from the sunnah. But the Prophet did not fast every Ithnain al Khamis. And call it Ithnain al Khamis better than Monday and Thursday. طيب يا عبد القادر اثنين والخميس تفضل. Bad. Okay, toothbrush. When the Prophet ﷺ, he said, verily by the one in whose hand is my soul, the bad smell coming out of the fasting person is better in the sight of Allah than the fragrance of musk. Again, don't misunderstand the hadith to say that, oh, I need to make my mouth as stinky as possible. Then it will be more rewardable. It doesn't mean that. Again, this is something that you have been pushed to have it. You have no, you could say, opportunity to do anything apart from, be patient. Because that bad smell, it does not come from a rotten mouth. The rotten mouth will be rotten whether you're hungry or not. It's coming from an empty stomach. That's what it is. So, a person using the siwak, he would belittle or decrease, I should say, decrease the smell that comes out of the mouth. Toothbrush, it will decrease some of the smell that comes out of the stomach. There's no such thing that toothbrush would reach to your stomach. There's no tooth as well, or siwak that would reach to your stomach. There's no such thing. If that not smell is going to come, and the more hungry you are, the more bad smell will come. But it will belittle that. So if you have a bad smell before Ramadan, when you are full, then you check your gums, ya akhi. Make sure you actually gum. Some of the brothers, wallah, you can't, you have to be a mile away from them. As soon as he approaches you, he kills you. Because he doesn't really brush his teeth, it smells horrible. So if it is to do with your teeth cleaning, then go to the dentist. Very simple. There's gingivitis, there's lots of things can be treated. Very easy. Dentist will help you. So the toothbrush, the toothpaste, that's what you're asking, not toothbrush. Toothpaste. Toothpaste is no problem. Fluoride. So you could use it as long as you make sure that no particles goes in. So you rinse your mouth. You're going to still have that fresh flavor left in your mouth. That fresh flavor is not, because it's not particles. So maybe later on saliva comes in, flavor comes in with it. No problem. Because it's a flavor, not particles. As long as you make sure that all the toothpaste particles left your mouth, that fresh flavor stays. The same thing as the siwak, which is flavored these days as well. Now, تفضل. Dua when you break your fast. Your dua wishes that you say the general dua. Oh, I see, right. The person regarding his fast. When he's fasting, definitely his dua is more responded to than when he's not fasting. But it doesn't mean when I say when he's not fasting, that means when he's breaking the fast. He's not fasting, that means he's not fasting the day. Now, Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّ لِلصَّائِمِ دَعْوَةٌ مُسْتَجَابَةٌ عِنْدَ فِطْرِهِ. Person's Muslim's got a supplication which is fulfilled when he breaks his fast. So, that da'wah mustajaba, وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. ذهب الظمأ تلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. So, every certain person, when he breaks his fast, he's got a dua, and that dua is fulfilled. Also, the last moments before you break your fast, those last moments, You could use them for the dua because you are before you break your fast. In general dua, no problem, there's no specific dua. Also we know that the adhkar, the sabah and al-masa, the adhkar, some of the scholars say adhkar starts after Asr, some of them say start after Maghrib. The adhkar. When you are making the fast, your adhkar are more responded to than you are not fasting. Because you're closer to Allah. That is why Prophet of Allah said, I like my deeds to be presented to Allah when I'm fasting. That means when you're fasting, you're closer to Allah. Your dua is more of to be answered when you are fasting than when you're not fasting. And when the person fasting is as far as he can from the temptation. Because his stomach is empty. His mind and his heart away from the lust and the shahawat. And always he'll be closer to Allah. His veins are weak because he's got no food. So the shaitan is not having roller coaster inside. You know when you have food, your vein gets big and the blood starts gushing. And the Prophet said, Inna shaitan ajri min Adam majawad dami fil hum. Shaitan runs into your vein just like the blood runs into the veins. So if you tighten the veins, then you're going to tighten the space for the shaitan. How do you tighten the veins? Less food. That's the fast. Because of that, you'll find yourself closer to Allah. And as soon as you break your fast, you're happy. Not just happy because of your hasanat with Allah. You're happy that you have broken that fast. Happy. Your life becomes, subhanAllah. But also you've been patient. You have starved yourself because you've been patient. This is Shahr al-Siyam. The fast, the month is the fasting month. It's called patience month. Shahr al-Sabr. Patience month. By this, it's about 45, I believe. Subhanakallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.